whomever you love, we welcome you.
Morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Kent. I'm Reverend Stephen, your minister. Thank you for joining us this morning as we gather virtually once again, a spiritual community that seeks to be diverse and inclusive as we inspire love, work for justice, and grow together in community. We extend a special welcome to our visitors. Thank you for worshiping with us this morning. And once again, we welcome you.
Our home is the love that sustains us. Do you know what I mean when I say love? Do you know what I mean when I say love? Our home is the beauty between us. Do you know what I mean when I say beauty? Do you know what I mean when I say beauty? It's our time of living here in the house of memory and hope. She's seen us through the changes in the timelessness of ages. We rest in the living here. We rest in the loving here. We rest in the being here. Our home is the peace that defines us. Do you know what I mean when I say peace? Do you know what I mean when I say peace? Our home is the God that delights us. Do you know what I mean when I say God? Do you know what I mean when I say God? It's our time of living here in the house of memory and hope. She's seen us through the changes in the timelessness of ages. We rest in the living here. We rest in the loving here. We rest in the being here. Our home is the moment we gather, we gather. Our home is the moment we gather, we gather. Do you know what I mean when I say home? Do you know what I mean when I say come home? It's our time of living here in the house of memory and hope. She's seen us through the changes in the timelessness of ages. We rest in the living here. We rest in the loving here. We rest in the being here.
Sometimes your gut instinct just isn't right. I was certain the story that I wanted to share with you this morning would work to invite you into this service, to introduce you. But no, it wasn't going to work no matter how I massaged the message. And the more I thought, the more elusive inspiration became. I was getting a little worried. Thursday morning in the shower came the aha moment. Water was the key, of course. I was born under the water sign of Pisces. I grew up on the ocean, and I feel most at home near or in water. 15 or so years ago, on a summer afternoon up at Lake Erie, I had a most unusual experience. I was standing alone waist high in the lake. The water was cool and clear. My eyes were closed and my face was turned toward the sun. Even though I knew there were people around on the beach and in the lake, I heard nothing at all. The feeling is almost inexpressible in mere words. There was no beginning or end to me or my surroundings. The sun, the air, the water moved through me, through my feet, up through my body, back into the water, the air, and the sun. It was a complete cycle of oneness with the universe. I was part of everything, and everything was a part of me. It was such a unique, such an unusual feeling. I wondered, was my mind playing tricks on me? Had I been out in the sun too long? Was I dehydrated? No, it wasn't any of these. The feeling was both real and surreal. I discovered later that this is called a peak experience. For me, it was an acute realization that I belong to and am of the universe, and it belongs to and is made of me. It clarified my sense of being, where I fit in life, and what my purpose is as a human on a tiny, fragile planet in a vast expanse of space. Come, let us worship and be one together.
We join Unitarian Universalists across the country in lighting a chalice, a sign of life's beauty and wonder, a symbol of peace and hope, an invitation to continue our ongoing search for the light of truth within us and among us, and a reminder that we are all interconnected in the great web of existence of which we are each a beloved part. Now, as I light our shared chalice, I invite you to light your home chalice. Let's join in the words of our congregational covenant. We affirm that each life has brilliance, and when joined with others in joyful community, has the power to transform. We pledge ourselves and our resources to this journey. This covenant inspires and challenges us to dwell together in right relationship. We promise to extend hospitality, nurture community for all ages, encourage spiritual growth, honor diversity, and practice kindness. I invite us now into a time of stillness, to turn inward, to connect with the love that is the very heart of life itself, to reflect on the mysteries of life, and to remember our interconnectedness with each other and the great web of life. So let's enter some silence together. Now, in the spirit of being a community of compassion and care, I invite you to use the chat box to share with us your sorrows and losses. We'll share our joys a little bit later. Vivian Sandlin says, my daughter Anna fell and sprained her foot. She is wearing a boot. We send our wishes for her healing. As we hold these sorrows and losses and the ones in our heart before us, I offer you this prayer adapted from Seely Katovich. Spirit of life and being itself, thou who art as present to us in our suffering as in our well-being, abide with us in this time. Soothe the secret pains we carry. Bless us with the courage to move toward our grief and not away. When all is hidden, when we find ourselves moving among the shadows, when we do not know the way, quiet our hearts, still our restlessness. Help us to embrace the unknown, to hold the mystery, and to let ourselves be held by it. Abide with us, O Spirit of compassion, as the power of healing, the power of love, the power of grace, the assurance of peace, the very love that will not let us go. Now, once again, I invite you to use the chat box to share your joys with us. Diane Kloss sends congratulations to her grandson, Elliot, who turned 6 this week and celebrated with an outdoor birthday party yesterday. Such fun. Cheryl Spores says, my first cataract surgery has been very easy. We're glad to hear that, Cheryl, and we wish you healing. Kara Kramer shares that her grandmother turns 90 this week. We send our wishes for a very joyful birthday. Kathy Kern says, my younger son, Alan, got engaged. Congratulations. Wonderful news. Bonus joy, he got an internship in Solon for the summer and is staying with us during the week. Wishing you joy as you spend time with him. Coleman says, I got my babysitting and CPR license yesterday. Congratulations, Coleman. Good work. Raylan Rome says, my grandfather came over yesterday and it was super fun. How wonderful to be able to see him. Renee Rahutsky says, we are finally starting to plant in the Thomas Anderson Memorial Community Garden, which is at the corner of Walnut and Dodge in Kent. Thank you for being part of that, Renee. And now, with gratitude for these and every blessing we receive in life, for the gift of life itself, for the companionship of each other on our shared journey, and for the hope and the possibilities that life creates every day, together may we say, Amen. Thank you, Vanessa. There is an ancient tale from Iran of a bird named the simurgh, the king of the birds, the source of wisdom. The simurgh is particularly loved in the Sufi tradition, who see it as a metaphor for the path an individual takes to grow spiritually and the journey toward enlightenment. The simurgh is still used in many areas of culture and art, from architecture to fashion. In the last two films of the X-Men series, Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, the character Jean Grey ends up as a simurgh at the end of her transformation process. I found the video we're about to watch of the story of the simurgh on that source of all wisdom, which is, of course, Facebook. So now let's watch and hear the story.
This is the ancient Persian story of the simurgh, originally told in the 12th century by Fariduddin Attar and retold by Jorge Luis Borges in the Book of Imaginary Things. The Simurgh is a benevolent, mythical, flying creature, an immortal bird that nests in the branches of the Tree of Knowledge, far away in a distant land. One day, the other birds learn that the Simurgh has dropped one of his splendid feathers. These birds have been living in anarchy and they are tired of it, tired of chaos, struggle, and confusion. They know there must be a better way, and they need the wisdom and guidance of a great leader. So, they decide to venture off to find the Simurgh. They know that this journey will be long and difficult, since the great benevolent bird's castle lies way out in a distant mountain range that forms a ring around the earth. But it's got to be worth the journey to find deliverance from the chaos that surrounds them. A better world must be possible. So this group of birds heads off to see the Simurgh, and right away many of the birds lose heart. The nightingale bails. He can't bear to be apart from his beloved rose. The parrot wants to go right back into the cage in which he's lived his whole life. The partridge cannot do without the comfort of her home in the hills. The heron can't stand being away from the marsh, nor the owl away from his ruins. But finally, certain of them set out on the perilous venture. They cross 7 valleys, 7 seas, each one with an alarming name. The next to last sea was named Bewilderment, and the last one, Annihilation. Many of the original pilgrims desert. The journey takes a deep toll on the rest of the travelers. They are exhausted, depleted, and at the end of this arduous journey, only 30 birds are left. These birds were frightened and tired, but they kept moving together, and they finally reached the great peak that the great Simurgh bird is said to live upon. And the birds land. They prepare to behold their king, to receive their answers, to rest into the end of chaos. But there on that mountain peak, there is no great mythical bird. It's just them on that peak, just 30 birds. And this is because they are the Simurgh. Because it turns out that the word Simurgh means 30 birds. And the Simurgh is each of them and all of them together.
Those 30 birds who made that journey discovered that they are the Simurgh. The same way it takes all of us working together to be a church that brings healing, truth, and justice to our world. Children and youth, you are part of this work, and we're grateful for the ideas, the creativity, the playfulness, and the commitment you bring and share with us. Let's keep working together and sharing with each other. And that's the end of our story.
Our first reading from a very favorite author of mine, the Reverend Victoria Safford. There's a sign posted somewhere out on routes 2 and 202, way out there near Gardner, Winchendon, Petersham, Massachusetts, near a fairly sharp curve. The sign says, "Caution, church ahead." There's no punctuation, just "Caution, church ahead." So you wonder, driving by, Are they the caution church? The cautious church, afraid to say anything, afraid to do anything, afraid to take a stand, afraid of strangers, cautious and careful, pious and practical? It's not a very inviting sign. Or is the sign posted as a warning, in fact, warranting a colon, caution, church ahead? One would do well, no doubt, to round that curve carefully. I'm not sure we need so flamboyant and ambiguous a sign, but perhaps something could be posted outside that says, if not caution, colon, church ahead, then maybe watch out. Unitarian Universalists ahead. They ask a lot of you in there. From time to time, someone around here will casually admit that what they really like about this congregation, this society, this church, about Unitarian Universalism, is that it asks so little of him. And the response is, but friend, we ask you to be each other's shelter. We ask you to care for each other, to notice when illness strikes or death or sorrows invisible. We ask you to be a community. We ask you to help one another to teach each other's children and to teach each other to be wise parents. We ask you to defend free faith, to understand that this is a rare and rather fragile place, a temple of free speech, dedicated to spiritual pluralism, to intellectual wandering, and to mystical wondering. We ask you to look out for each other. We ask you to run this place. We ask you to be prophets in your own land and to practice your religion actively beyond these walls 7 days a week. We ask that you usher once in a while, since someone has to do it, that you look at your life in this community as exactly that, life within community. Whether you're a member of the society or whether you just come on Sunday mornings, whether you rush in and out or stay for coffee, potlucks, and programs and the rest, we ask you every year for a financial pledge. And because we are you, we can be neither apologetic, nor coy, nor subtle about this. We ask that you weave here together some kind of sturdy, gorgeous web, because without that among you, this thing doesn't work. Much is asked of us in this liberal religious community. For me, as a member of the congregation, the joy lies in a wonderful paradox. The gifts demanded of me here are the very gifts I've been seeking my whole life long.
They are frightened and tired. The journey is long and dangerous. They are searching for an answer to chaos. Sound familiar? They are searching for the Simurgh because they believe that a better world must be possible. As we heard in the story, at the end of the journey, the 30 birds discovered that they are the Simurgh. Like those birds, we've been on a long, difficult, and mysterious journey this last year. We've been through valleys of fear, of uncertainty, of worry, of loss. Through the pandemic, we've been searching for answers and wisdom, wondering what to do to thrive during these hard and unpredictable times. We've looked to the government, the health department, the UUA, different places, hoping surely one of them has the answers we need. The truth is that we've been living the answers all along through our journey, caring for one another, helping this community thrive, facing the difficulties and challenges that have come our way since the pandemic began, always learning and adapting. And we know what the birds discovered at the end of their journey. The real magic has been all of us together, each of us sharing our gifts, joining in the work to be done, lending our financial support, using that Zoom link yet one more time in order to continue our mission and our vision and live more fully into our potential as individuals and a congregation. As we prepare to have our annual meeting and reflect on our year's achievements, it's time to celebrate. Even though we've been physically apart for over a year and church has been a computer screen, there's still lots to celebrate. These are some of the things you shared with me. We did a wonderful job as a church community in following health department guidelines to keep everyone as safe and healthy as possible during COVID-19, and yet managed to keep people feeling connected to our community. We learned how to use new technology and adapted to being a virtual church where we met for worship, religious education, governance, and committee meetings using Zoom. We even had a very successful service auction, annual pledge campaign, and talent show that were all completely virtual. We carried out 2 successful Hogwarts sessions using the Muggle technology of Zoom and YouTube. We've had lots of practice saying, "You're muted." We began our year-long Welcoming Congregation Renewal program. Our youth led us in racial justice demonstrations and creating a partnership with the NAACP. We had our usual special worship services this year, added a Vesper service on Wednesday nights, and our music program continued to thrive. Every service was one for people of all ages. Thanks to technology, we've had many new people find us and join us for worship and events, some of whom are as far away as Germany. We built Hobbs Hall, our new social hall, and we're busy furnishing it and getting ready to use. And of course, we held our first stuffy sleepover ever. There were many other things we can be proud of this year, accomplishments, achievements. If there's some things you'd like to share that I haven't mentioned, please use the chat box to tell us. Kevin shares renewing our welcoming congregation status. Thank you, Kevin, for your work on that team. Bonnie Harper says we've had dogs and cats join us for services. They've been very welcome. And as far as I can tell, very well behaved. Emily Burnell-True says, thanks for the Germany mention. I really enjoy your services from the other side of the pond. We're glad you've joined us, Emily. Virtual talent shows, Eric Van Bar says, extending the outreach of our talented community. Jill Forsman says, Hobbs Hall. House continued creativity. Michelle Boris says, having musical guests from all over, and it has allowed those camera shy to perform pre-recorded. Susanna Smart says, you're part of the service, Emily. And Verweeby says, building committees to assure congregational input in the realization of Hobbs Hall. Many people joining in the work to get that done so we can use the building. Renee Rahutsky says, I love having far-flung friends in the Zoom room with us. Judy Deal says, we found new ways to share with each other in the non-virtual world in safe ways. Porch drops, outdoor fun. Meaningful, though virtual life rituals. Thank you, Claudia. Michelle Boris says, I love that parents and grandparents and other relatives of friends and members have been joining us. From the Rome family, Ray Lynn says, being able to sleep in and go to church in our PJs. We're glad you're with us, Ray Lynn. Being able to attend church with my mom despite being over 400 miles apart. And shout out to you, Joe, for serving as a projector many Sundays. Liz Bright says, blessed to have such an engaging RE program. Thank you to all of you who participated and helped teach our children and youth. Thank you, everyone, for sharing these thoughts. Most importantly, we've cared for one another and this community, and we thrived. We've also continued to do the deepest work we do as a spiritual community. In the poem Conference of the Birds, Sufi poet Farid Uddin Attar writes, "The home we seek is in eternity. The truth we seek is like a shoreless sea, of which your paradise is but a drop. Be whole, desire and journey to wholeness. The ocean can be yours. Why should you stop beguiled by dreams of evanescent dew? The secrets of the sun are yours, but you content yourselves with motes trapped in beams." We are a group of people on a spiritual quest, seeking the home of eternity, desiring healing and greater wholeness in our living, seeking the shoreless sea, the truth which is named in the Conference of the Birds, the secrets of the sun itself, the source of life. In the story of the Simurgh, many birds dropped out of the journey or refused to go, making excuses or stories in order to give up, settling for less than the ultimate because of the long, dangerous, and unknown journey ahead. The reality of most congregations, for that matter, most institutions, groups of people working together, is that they never realize their fullest potential. Content with drops of water instead of the ocean, and motes trapped in beams instead of the sun itself. Settling for what is familiar and comfortable instead of knowing life in its most abundant and the truth of who we are as spiritual beings, children of God, with all the potential of life inside every one of us. We tell ourselves stories of scarcity, not enough time or money or energy, or these stories shape who we are and what we do together. In the days and months and years to come, as we live into our new building, figure out how to gather in person again safely, and face the new realities of life where so much has changed and things are not going to be the same as they were, what story will be ours? Will we be, as Victoria Safford says, the cautious church, afraid to say anything, afraid to do anything, afraid to take a stand, afraid of strangers, cautious and careful, pious and practical? Or will we be daring, creative, eager to welcome strangers, taking a stand for what is right, dreaming of a better world, and then working to make it a reality? During my second candidating sermon in May of 2018, I asked, are you ready to say yes as life calls us toward a future that is ours to dream and to create together? 3 years later, as we come out of the pandemic and begin a new chapter of our history, I want to ask once again, are you willing to once again say yes as life calls us to continue to thrive, to be creative and daring, to welcome others, to learn and embrace change, and to live out our mission and vision as fully as possible? If you're willing to say yes, you're welcome to raise a hand. Thank you. May it be so, and together in the spirit of the love that embraces us, sustains us, and calls us on in hope and faith, may we make it so. Now I invite us into a moment of silence to reflect together. We thrive together, even though we can't be together in person quite yet. We thrive because of the gifts of money, time, and care each of you so generously give. Thank you. To help others in our community thrive, we also give to agencies and organizations in Kent and beyond that serve those in need. May's special offering is for the Lord's Lunch. Camille Pavlicek-Fauser, who coordinates this ministry when our congregation participates, says, the Lord's Lunch Meal Ministry unites UUCK with churches and organizations in Kent to provide a free Saturday lunch for those in our community who live with food insecurity. This ministry takes place at Trinity Lutheran Church in Kent, and our UUCK team is responsible for purchasing, preparing, and serving these meals at least 4 times per year. Thank you, Camille, for leading this program, and thank you to everyone who participates. In the spirit of gratitude for the gift of one another and this community and the abundance that makes our generosity possible, we now give and receive the offering as a sign of our shared commitment to the life and work of this congregation and beyond.
Sometimes when life gets rough, days are long and nights are even longer. You think you've had enough, you're not getting any stronger. But just be patient, friend. This will take some time to mend. Just one more step. We gotta get up, we gotta go forward. Just make a goal, get up on your feet, and start walking toward it. Step by step, we keep moving. Day by day, we'll be learning something new. You can't move that boulder in your way, but little by little, we'll keep chipping away. Step by step, we keep working, hand in hand till we reach a brighter view. We can't climb that mountain in a day, but little by little, we'll be making our way. The going got too tough, and you can't take it any longer. This time it's just too much, you're not getting any younger. But just give it one more day. Don't let the demons have their way. Just one more step. We gotta get up, we gotta go forward. Just make a goal, get up on your feet and start walking toward it. Step by step, we keep moving. Day by day, we'll be learning something new. You can't move that boulder in your way, but little by little, we'll keep chipping away. Step by step, we keep working, hand in hand till we reach a brighter view. Be patient, we all know what they say. Rome wasn't built in a day. Step by step, we keep climbing, side by side till we reach that higher view. We can't climb that mountain in a day, but little by little, we'll be making our way. Step by step, we keep moving, making our way. Day by day, just giving one more day. Step by step, we keep moving. Step by step, day by day.
And now, as we take our next steps, it is time to bring the service portion of our morning to its close. Would you join me in the words for extinguishing the chalice? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. May we carry these in our hearts and minds until we are together again. And these words are by the Reverend William Murray. These are the days that have been given to us. Let us rejoice and be glad in them. These are the days of our lives. Let us live them well in love and service. These are the days of mystery and wonder. Let us cherish and celebrate them in gratitude together. These are the days that have been given to us. Let us make of them stories worth telling to those who come after us. And now, as we prepare to do the work of shaping our future, rejoicing in the days we are given, living lives of joy through love and service, cherishing and celebrating with gratitude these days of mystery and wonder, let us continue to hold before us our mission to inspire love, seek justice, and grow in community. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen. And I see the light in you.